But guys, this just came as a result of just talking to so many of you guys that, um, you know, hearing people say, you know what, I really want to quit my job, but just not really sure if I'm even profitable. How do I know when I can make that leap if I don't know my numbers at all? And I'm just hearing that over and over and over again. I literally have been talking to several people in our group like, how can we solve this? How can we bridge that gap? Because this really is important. A lot of you guys, all of us, we start out as this is just a side business. Christy, thanks for popping on here. You started this as just like you wanted to make 500 extra bucks a month, and that was your
Actually, not
goal.
even that, just for Christmas.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And so, but then it starts, and then that happens for a lot of us. We like, yeah, this is Amazon thing. It's great. I want to earn some extra money. Some of you come into this like knowing exactly what you're trying to do. This is going to be the thing that I'm going to be able to quit my job with. Some of you, it's just side hustle. And then it starts to grow and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have a business and I've never ran a business before. I have no idea what all these things are, all these reports, accounting, bookkeeping. And my goodness, it's just way over my head because it's just not something I had to mess with before. And this is a part of the business, guys, that just does not get talked a lot about. We talk about how to source products, where to find them. We talk about replens, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. And then you start getting money coming in. It's like, well, how much can I take for myself? How much should I put back in my business? If I want to make $5,000 a month, well, how much do I need? What should my goals be for that? And there's just so many things about the number side of this business that you just don't hear a lot of people mention until this group here, meeting Chris, talking to him and Carl and Christy, and thought these are the right people to come together to put this kind of course together to help all you guys out. So that's what we're doing here. And this is actually, this is actually module 1 of a course we're putting together, and we'll give you an opportunity at the end if you wanted to join up with us. But you're going to get a ton of content tonight to kind of get you started and put you in the right direction. But that's the heart behind this, is that we want you to know what your numbers are so that you can make decisions and figure out what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. So Chris, I'll
Yes,
I'll just hand this over to you, and we'll pipe in, chime in if and when we need to. But thanks for doing this with us.
Okay. No, thanks for having me. I've been wanting to help out for a long time. My name is Chris Lovelace. I've been in Legends for over 1.5 years now. I've gotten a huge benefit from getting to know many of you and working alongside you. Had some great opportunities, and I really wanted to help out and give back. So thanks for letting me do that.
Of course.
This group, like Ryan said, right here, kind of Christy, everybody knows her from the welcome calls and all the great inspiration she provides on a regular basis. Christy, would you like to say anything else about your Amazon journey?
I tell you what, Chris, this is like, I was super excited about this because like I could probably be a poster child for all the things not to do when you start your Amazon business, because I was one of those people. It's like I didn't have a business background really. You know, I've done online businesses before, but you know, I never really had a business background. And so, you know, I just am super excited about everything that's being put together here. And I know that people are really going to benefit from this. So, you know, I've been selling since mid 2015, and I did get my act together. I didn't wait till now to do that. I did get my act together after a short amount of time, or actually it was way too long. But yeah, I'm just super excited to be part of this. Super excited to help people to really understand and you know what it is that they're working with and what they can potentially bring home from a net profit perspective, and just to help them to understand things. And so I just wanted to thank you, Chris, for all the knowledge that you're putting into this. And I just know people are really going to be blessed by this. So super excited about it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Carl, I don't know if he's able to talk right now. Looks like he's still having some difficulties getting in, but when he's able to get in, we'll give him the mic.
Yep.
And then everybody here knows Ryan. Do you want to say anything else, Ryan?
No, I'm all good. Just thanks
Okay.
for doing this, Chris and Christy and Carl, and let's jump into it.
Good deal. So as together as a team, we have more than 25 years of experience selling e-commerce, not just Amazon, but in multiple platforms. You know, eBay and the greatest series we just did on the Walmart stuff. Everybody's getting interested into that one, and all the other ones combined. We've had our own websites. We've done Amazon. So we know a little bit about a lot of things. And we're still learning every day, but we're happy to help out anybody where we can. So the objectives of this course is we want to get together and help you have a solid business. We're here to just talk about all the different aspects that, you know, may not really be talked about all that much when you're setting up a business, running an actual business, and measuring your growth against your strategic objectives that you should be setting for yourself to help your business actually grow. We have a lot of content out there about finding products to sell, but when it gets down to showing your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet to your CPA, a lot of us need some help in that regard. So we're going to be talking about that quite a bit in future sessions. So today we wanted to set up your business. So the number one thing that we need to do is dream. What do you want your business to be, or what do you want it to do for you? I'm sure everybody has an idea. Some reasons may include paying off debt. You know, some of our sellers came over from Dave Ramsey or Christy Wright, and they mentioned selling on Amazon, and they're like, do that as a side hustle and until you earn enough to pay off your debt. So that could be one thing. Paying your child's tuition. A couple of you are using this to finance your children's college, and that's wonderful. Maybe you're behind on saving for retirement and you need to put some more funds in there so that when you're not able to do anything but enjoy life, then you have money to do so. Or maybe you want to make this your primary focus and provide your main income for your family. So there's no wrong answer on why you want to set up your business, but you do need to write down why you want to keep you focused in the hard times.
Christy, you want to jump in on this? Because this is perfect what you mentioned last night on our quick start. You went kind of deep into this. You don't have to go as deep, but just to share your heart.
You mean you don't want to be here for 3 hours?
Yeah,
Really?
not 3 hours. Maybe for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. You know, this actually, I would say arguably is one of the most important first steps that you really need to take. And that's understanding your why. You know, we talked about this actually yesterday in a webinar we did yesterday. Your why is one of the most important reasons for keeping you motivated through some of the challenges that you're going to experience as you're learning something new. You know, there's a learning curve to Amazon. There's a learning curve to getting your finances in order. There's a learning curve to all the pieces that are part of building an actual business. And understanding what your why is and what your true core why is going to be the thing that's going to sustain you when you are faced with adversity, when you have some of those challenges that come up. And so I think it's super important to take this first step and really think about, you know, what your why is. And we did a little exercise yesterday. I'll just touch on it briefly. You know, it's asking yourself why 5 times. And so the example that we gave is, okay, I would like to be, I would like to run in a 5K, but in this case, I'm actually going to go back to what some of these examples were. I would like to bring my husband home from work because then we would have more time to spend together. I would say then I would like to spend more time together because we're getting older and we may not have as much time left as we think that we do. And then I would take that and I'd say, well, we might not have as much time as we think that we do because Dan just turned 60 and he's struggling with that. And, you know, we need to work towards having our retirement in place before he reaches the age of retirement. We need to take that time of retirement because if we don't do that, then we're going to be working for the rest of our lives. As you can see, each step of that took me down a little bit deeper, a little bit more into the core. And when I am able to get to a place where I hit a challenge or some adversity, and I look at Dan and I think, you know what, my real reason for doing this business isn't just to make an extra $500 for Christmas, which is how I started out. It's so that in our, I wouldn't say golden years, we're still young, but in the time that we have remaining on this earth, that we have the opportunity to be able to spend as much of that time together. For Dan to do mission work, you know, those are all the things that are the why. Those are what I call our root core why reasons. And I think it's really important that you take even just a little bit of time to really understand what that is, because it's going to motivate you and it's going to sustain you through the challenges.
That's
Good.
That's definitely very good. Yeah. And some other things on here, in addition to that, asking yourself the 5 whys, some other topics may be that you've always had just a dream of working for yourself. You know, maybe you want to experience the joy of owning something, or just proving to yourself that, hey, you know, I can do this. I don't have to be dependent on another employer to help me get where I need to go. So, but action on some of these slides, you'll see at the bottom, we put action steps. We put them on there just to think, you know, to help you really focus on what you should do throughout the course. The first action from this one is document your why. Why'd you start this business? Put it up on a sticky so you can see it when you get frustrated with the business. It'll really help you stay focused. Carl, I see you jumped on. You want to say hello to everybody real quick?
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry for the delay. Zoom kept crashing on my laptop, so now I'm just gonna have to do this on my phone.
Well,
I apologize.
You're always mobile, so it's fitting.
Right?
Awesome. All right. Well, the next thing that you really want to do when you're going through and setting up your business is actually decide what type of business you want to have. These are the most common types of businesses. And I know for a lot of people, you come in and you're like, well, I have next to nothing in my name. I can't afford to set up a business from day one. And that's fine. Businesses change structures all the time. So a lot of people can start off as a sole proprietorship and make enough money to afford to then take the next step and become a different structure type with the help of a legal advisor, a lawyer, or other legal services that you can get. So the benefits of these items are in green, the negatives are in red, and there's more benefits and negatives that didn't make the slides, but I felt these were the most important ones that most people talk about. So sole proprietorship is extremely easy. You just set up your tax ID. You actually use your own social security number as your tax ID for a while until you go out and get registered with the state. There's very few accounting needs. You don't have to do reports to shareholders or anything like that. You just really have to keep track of your own business finances, and you can generally do that in a very simple ledger, which we'll get into. You do have to pay self-employment tax if you're running a sole proprietor. And there is personal liability because there's no distinction between you and your business when it comes down to litigation. So you don't have any protection there. General partnership is kind of the next step. If you and a partner got together and said, well, we want to make a business. It's the same type as a sole proprietorship. You don't have to go to a lawyer. You don't have to write articles of incorporation. You don't have to actually do much in terms of actually getting the business up and going. Again, easy maintenance for filing needs with the state, with your taxes, very few accounting needs. Some of the negatives, though, is you have to be careful on how you share the profits. Otherwise, it can have some bad consequences later on because the amount of ownership of partners can change over time if it's not carefully documented and tracked. And again, there is no personal liability. There's no personal protection. If the general partnership gets sued, they can come after your personal assets of both you and your partner. So I would recommend that you use that format structure of your business until you actually make enough money to then take the next step. And that is the limited liability company, LLC. Far and away, most groups associated with Amazon sellers talk about having an LLC, so that's one of the most popular. This is where you start getting into the fact that now your company can be sued if something went bad, but your assets are safe. There is a clear distinction between your business and yourself. So that is one of the major reasons for getting an LLC together. You have to do a little bit more formation work. You do have to have a license and additional filing fees with your state, wherever you want to set up your company. And you might have to pay some additional taxes like franchise tax, depending on what state. And then it gets into the real formal companies, the C Corp, which is everybody thinks of incorporated. That's most people talk about the C Corp. It has stock. It can be privately held. It could be publicly held. It can have multiple owners. There's no limitation on owners. There's a whole lot of tax benefits that come along with the C Corp. However, there's a whole lot of reporting that you have to do with the C Corp as well, and your accounting does get kind of complex. You have to have corporate bylaws, you have to have a board of directors, you have to have certain named physicians like the CEO, etc. So there's a lot of overhead that comes with a C Corp, and not many of our sellers actually do that. And then an S Corp is similar to a C Corp, but you can only have 100 owners or less. There are some other tax deduction limitations that you have with the S Corp that you don't have with the C Corp, but depending on your situation, that might work out more favorably for you. The basic thing on this one is that you want to research and decide on your business entity. And we do have a Facebook group set up for this course. And if you have questions, don't want to get more specific on these, please feel free to post them and we'll work to get you an answer. We also have access to some lawyers that have helped several of us, and we could get you some actual legal advice by way of an introduction. We can't speak for them, but they can reach out to you and y'all can have a legal discussion if you need to.
Chris, let me jump in here for a
Sure.
second. This stuff, guys, let me tell you, this is not probably going to be the most exciting webinar or course that you're ever going to take, but it's so vitally important. And I know that's why you're signing up here to even join us on this webinar tonight, is you realize that. So it's not as exciting as talking about replens and how you're going to make 10 grand a month or anything like that. But this content's going to help you keep your money. And know if you're even making money. But I want to say about this slide here is don't let this overwhelm you. Don't let this stop you from moving forward. Don't feel like you have to. There's some of you that feel like, man, to even jump into this whole thing, I'm going to have to set up an LLC and get started. You certainly can. And some of these folks may even disagree with me on this. I would say just get started selling, get your stuff, get your products in there, and then do a sole proprietor. Just do it on your own for a while, and then jump to one of these things. Guys, do you get any reason to disagree on that or have a different opinion on that?
No, because honestly, if you're not doing a certain level of sales, I mean, you fly under most people's radar, and you'd be like, oh, well, they're only doing, 8,000 a month in sales. That doesn't really make them a target. They may not have anything for me to sue for. So there's absolutely no reason to not jump in with a sole proprietor, do that for a couple of months. By that time, you'll have enough to set up an LLC if you want to go that route.
Yep. And even for me, guys, not that I did it the right way, I probably fall pretty close into what Christy did, which, probably did it the wrong way for a while. But it was a few years before I had an LLC. And so maybe that's right. Maybe that's not right. Maybe that's not the best way to do it, but at least it didn't, like, if I would have had to do a whole bunch of stuff up front, I probably never would have got started. So any of these things that we tell you guys that are things like what you can do, should do eventually, is don't think like, oh my gosh, I got to do all of this stuff right now, or I can't even proceed further. That is so not the case. Move forward, keep doing your business, keep working it. These things, you can add things on, and you can add a bookkeeper at some point. You don't have to add a bookkeeper tomorrow. The sooner you can, the better, because you don't have to think about that type of stuff. You don't want to be doing your own taxes, but don't feel like this is a whole big weight just piled on you. Like, oh my goodness, I got to do all this right now.
Yeah, definitely not the case. And that's a real good point, Ryan.
I
We
want to add to that a little bit, Chris, if I could as well. It's like the other thing to think about with all that, with going through all of this information is, I agree with Ryan 100%. Just get started. I mean, don't let any of this stuff stop you from doing that. But the other thing that I'll add along with that, though, is remembering that, we want to encourage you to build a business that's going to help you to achieve those dreams and goals that you have set up. And if you don't do the steps to ensure that you have a solid foundation, you're kind of playing on quicksand a little bit. And so this doesn't have to be really a difficult thing. Like I said, a sole proprietorship, it's not going to be a big complicated thing. As Ryan said, you can get started, get stuff sent in. You can be working with that just to get started. But learning this information is going to be some of the stuff that's going to help you to keep money in your pocket faster. I didn't pay attention to a lot of this when I started in 2015. And I think I probably could have been about 2 years further ahead in my financial goals if I'd had this information when I started. And so I agree, don't let it overwhelm you. Certainly don't let it stop you. But it is important. And I think it's, and I want to say that, I guess, because it isn't the most exciting topic. And so people might be, it's like, oh, well, maybe I don't want to sit and listen to here, but I really think you should. It's some of the most vital information that you're going to get. So I hope that didn't take us down the wrong path, Ryan, but I really wanted to reiterate that. It's like, this isn't about stopping you in your tracks, but it is about making sure that you have a solid foundation so that you can maximize yourself, your potential, earning potential from the get-go.
Absolutely.
And that's where it's important.
And I'm going to have to disagree. I think this stuff is really interesting. So anyway, this for everybody. This is the longest we'll spend on any one slide in this course. So there's just a lot of information.
I love that you said
right
that,
here.
Chris, because there are people that are like, yeah, this is exciting stuff. I love the numbers. I love the data. I am so not that person. And so I love that. That's why you're doing this and I'm not.
Awesome. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. So can anybody identify with this right now? My brain is like the Bermuda Triangle. Information goes in and then it's never found again. Don't worry, we're here for you. Let's get to your plan of action, okay? Just inhale your confidence, exhale your doubt. We're gonna get through this together. All right, let's get down to actually making your business setup plan. All right, these next couple of slides are gonna be just 6 steps that you wanna think about. I want you to think about it, see if you've done it or not. And then if you haven't done it, just take a note, write them down that this is something that as soon as you have time, look into it. And again, we're here to help you. So number 1, you absolutely have to file required paperwork to form your business. Depending on your business entity, it could be extremely simple or it can be extremely complex. But you do have to do something, and that will make you a legitimate enterprise. One thing, you absolutely have to file for a federal tax ID at some point. You don't want to use your social security number out there to identify with your business longer than you have to. You're going to use that tax ID to pay your taxes. You're going to use that tax ID when you set up accounts with your suppliers. And the more you can just give a tax ID than your social security number, then the more that protects you as a business owner. And it really shows that it's a legitimate business. That is really easy to do, by the way. Next one, file for a resale or a tax certificate for your state. You are probably, a lot of you are going to have to file state taxes as well. So might as well get that one done. It's very simple. In fact, for all 3 of these things, if you have a good legal service, they can knock out all 3 of those things in the first activity for you. And it's all one action from your point of view. So anyway, enough about that. Any questions on these 3 things? I don't see
No, but
any.
I'll give people a vote of confidence, because this also, I'm like Ryan, it's not really it's not where I get my happy place necessarily, but I did this myself. And it literally, it did not take very long at all. 10, 15 minutes to actually apply, get everything in there. It was really super easy. And so, you can certainly have, somebody do it for you, but even somebody like me could do it. So it's great.
And if you guys want to save money at Walmart, or if you're sourcing there, you need that state tax certificate to get your tax exempt card from Walmart. I know a lot of you might still be paying sales tax. You don't have to be. You can go have this little, especially at Walmart, it's super easy. You just go to the customer service desk. You'll need your state sales tax certificate to show them. They'll give you this little card. And then when you check out with your retail arbitrage purchases, you can they'll take the tax off.
That'll also work for online purchases. They have an online registration Walmart link. You can do that. Yeah. The only caveat is that you have to ship it to your state in which you're registered. Okay. So if I'm registered in Texas, then if I order from Walmart.com, it has to be delivered in Texas for it to be tax free. So, all right, next one. Checking account for your business. So this one's a little tricky. So number one, you absolutely must have a checking account for your business, and it should 100% be used solely for your business. You will get into a lot of trouble if you're using one checking account and you're paying for non-business expenses out of that account as well as for your business. Plus, bookkeeping is a nightmare. So you absolutely have to have a checking account. Now, depending on the type of business that you have, you may be able to get away with setting up a personal checking account. And other business structures, you have to have an account designated as a business checking account. The importance for this is protection of your personal assets. So again, if you're a sole proprietor, all you need is a personal checking account to do your stuff. But again, because there's no distinction between you and your business, all of your accounts would be subject to litigation action. So I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that. Again, they generally don't go on smaller businesses, but it's something to definitely keep in mind. One thing also with business checking accounts, some banks have an account with that designation and some banks don't, and some credit unions don't. And it's really up to your financial institution. But whatever you decide, make sure you understand the fees and the limitations of the checking account that you're getting set up. That's very important because a business checking account may have additional fees that a personal checking account does, even at the same institution. All right, next one. Highly recommended, get a business email account and a domain name. I know a lot of us love Gmail because it's free, but when you're going out and you're trying to contact people by email, trying to open up wholesale accounts and other things, they really like to see a domain name that's specific to your business. So I could use Chris Lovelace at gmail.com, but they'll be like, well, why is he using Gmail? Why isn't he doing his company name? You know, is it really that small of a business?
Yeah, it just doesn't look as legit, does it?
No, doesn't.
And especially for a wholesale company, you're talking to wholesalers, they'll immediately sniff you out as a small-time seller. And I know we're all small-time sellers pretty much, but just having that domain name just makes you look like one of the bigger boys.
Yeah, and it's really easy, and it's actually very inexpensive on here. Like if you go to GoDaddy.com, you can register your own domain for as cheap as $50 for 2 years. It's a very small amount of money to add some legitimacy to your business. And also, you would want to look into using something to run your business email, such as Microsoft Office 365 or G Suite for business. And they're as low as $5 a month per user. So again, not a lot of investment for a good deal of legitimacy. And honestly, you get a lot of support from those organizations that run your email. Microsoft, Google, they have support there on a business account to help you out if you get stuck.
I would add too that, if you're worried about having a couple of different email accounts, you can forward your business email account to Gmail if you want to keep everything in one place. I have 15 different emails. And so I just have them all forwarded to Gmail so that I can answer them. You just want to make sure that when you answer or respond, that you're responding from your business account.
Yeah, and if you use the Outlook client on your cell phone, for example, you can add 7 accounts on there, and to you on your phone, it all looks like it's one email account, but it'll automatically respond for you from the right account. So it's and that's a free app as well. So, The last thing that you really want to think about is business insurance. So a lot of us put this off because they hear, oh, I don't have to have business insurance until I have revenue every month of $10,000. Well, business insurance is great to have. Actually, looking at the policy from Amazon, they don't have a $10,000 minimum listed on that policy as a selling anywhere on there. They say if you're a pro seller, you have to have $1 million of general liability insurance. Doesn't make any recommendations on what size of business before you get that. And again, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's still, you can get a reasonable policy through several insurance agencies for under $100 a month. Some as low as $50 a month, depending on what other bells and whistles you get. So that is a good thing for you to definitely look into. As far as recommendations for business insurance, I know a lot of people use Haddon Insurance, Ashlyn Haddon. They're a great insurance agency, but honestly, everybody understands e-commerce these days from an insurance perspective. Everybody knows what general liability insurance is, and the sooner you get it, the better it protects your merchandise in the case of a catastrophic loss of merchandise, be it a fire, a theft, anything like that. And you really need to understand the insurance to know when to file a claim with Amazon for lost inventory and when to file a claim with your insurance company. So it's really important to get some insurance. All right, so do you feel like a winner? You should answer yes. You feel like a winner. You've been through all the hard stuff. This is, when we get down here, this is where you're pretty much at the end of setting up or formalizing your business, so to speak. So anybody have anything to add before I move on? Cool.
No, I just love that graphic.
I love that movie, and Gene Wilder's great. So action number 3, again, you could have been already done with it. Make a list of any missing business setup actions that you need to get done. All right, so next we're going to talk about 3 different needs that you have as an owner that you may or may not know. Number 1, documents. I bet everybody understands that you need to have documents for your business. So one of the most important documents is proof of purchase. That's invoice and receipt management is a must for your business. You have to have that, and I call that all purchase documentation. You have to have that for the IRS for your taxes. You have to have that for Amazon for both ungating and battling IP complaints. If you use a bookkeeper, they need those documents to complete your books for you. If you're ever in any sort of legal issue, your lawyer will need those documents. And bottom line, you have to have a reliable system to keep track of your purchase documentation. And next lesson, we'll go over some ways to do that.
Woo, 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 woo. That's what I'm excited about.
Awesome. The next one is the statement management. So statements are like your bank statements, credit card statements, internal business reports that you make on your own for your business, Amazon statements you may get, Amazon notices, anything like that. So it's pretty much 2 different ways, and it's really up to how you want to do it. You can go old school, print it all and put it in a paper filing system in a filing cabinet. And I have some of my documents in that format. And the other one is electronic. Just scan them in and save them so that they're searchable files on your hard drive. Amazon and IRS will always accept electronic copies for most things. Anything that you physically have to sign, like a contract, you would definitely be better off keeping at least a paper copy of at least the signature page where it has the actual valid signatures on it. So, and you can do this yourself, or you can outsource somebody to scan all this stuff in for you. So you can focus on making money and they can focus on making the $10 an hour to get your record straight for you for the files. All right, your second need, tax payments. Everybody's favorite. Just kidding. Every business has to pay taxes. You can't get out of it. There's different types of taxes. There's federal taxes, state taxes, sales taxes, franchise tax, import-export tax. So there's a lot of different taxes that you have to consider when you're running your business. And different business types have different taxes as well. Like just payroll taxes, just an example of that. For most businesses, you do have to file an estimated quarterly tax. I'll give a website link at the end of the presentation on where you can go to get that schedule. And I always try to post within Legends when those quarterly tax payments are due to help people give reminders. But that will help, A, make sure that the money is at the IRS so you don't have such a big payment at the end of the year. And B, it'll keep the IRS from assessing a fee on your taxes and increasing your tax payments because you wanted to hold on to your money instead of paying it every quarter. So 2 very important reasons for quarterly taxes. And honestly, having a CPA is a good friend when it comes to taxes. A good CPA can save you a lot more money than it costs in their fees, honestly. Tax planning is huge these days, and I highly recommend using a CPA of some sort. Yes, Bobby, you do have to pay all that in taxes. So
You don't have to, but
if you don't want to have a lot of problems, yeah, you got to. All right. Next topic is bookkeeping. So I know that's everybody thought this course was only about bookkeeping, but it's not. We're here to really help everything. So let's go over a few benefits of bookkeeping. One, it's going to help you understand your business. It's going to help identify where you spend your money. It's also going to help you measure your progress, which is a wonderful thing. It's going to help you see your profits or losses very clearly so you can make a game plan to improve. Keeping your books will also lower your taxes because I'll talk about a little bit later. It'll help you identify where all your monies have been spent, and your CPA go, oh, well, congratulations, that's tax deductible, and that's tax deductible, and that's a write-off, and that's tax deductible, and that's what you want to hear more than anything when it comes down to tax time. So the next one is identify areas of improvement. So you'll know by examining your books where you may be leaking money, as they like to say. So and then the last thing is to plan for your future. You have to look at your books to know where you're going and how fast you can get there. And the only way you can do that's with data. So we're here to make sure that we're doing some planning. Yeah, so everybody has to say planning. Yeah. So, all right. A few more things just to help you be aware of things that you might want to keep track of if you're not already. Businesses have lots of transactions. Obviously, you have your inventory, you have all your supplies, you have Amazon fees, software subscriptions, pay both for employees and for 1099s, education, the money you're spending on courses, and then taxes, obviously, legal fees, business setup fees, meals, travel, whatever you want to do for your business. If it's paid from the business, you have to keep track of it. So, but the good news is the more you log, the better your chance of lowering your taxes. And that's what we want to do at the end of the day. So there's really only 2 things that you need for effective bookkeeping: quiet and coffee. Just kidding. Seriously. Yeah, who's drinking coffee right now?
I was gonna say I am. You can't see it because I'm using my virtual background.
That's right. But seriously, the 2 things that you need are your receipts and your statements, and you need a solid system of records. So to keep Tax Pro happy, you're going to definitely need a profit and loss statement. That shows all your expenses and incomes and the leftover profit you have at the end of it all. You're going to need a balance sheet, and the balance sheet is exciting because that's showing the overall value of your business, and you can track your balance sheet every single month to actually see how your business is growing. Without both of those, you don't have enough data to really make a plan to advance your business. You also need a reconciled set of books with complete financial records. And by reconciled, what that means is that you have a transaction in your ledger and you've actually taken out a bank statement and compared the two and said, well, my bank says I had a purchase at Walmart for $300, and then you check that off on the bank statement when you see that it's in your ledger, and that's called reconciliation. That'll make sure that everything in your book matches a financial record. And we'll get into that a lot more when we talk about the different types of accounting systems and why reconciliation is so important for your business. And then also using a double entry bookkeeping method. And I know that's a tongue twister, and software does that for you. But what that just boils down to is if you have a credit in one account, then you have a matching debit in another account. And it helps be your final checks and balances for everything within your business. And don't worry, it's a lot right now. We'll get into that more later. Again, baby steps, getting this all set up. And in the next lesson, we'll actually have sample Excel versions of some of these documents that you can start using as a template. That's very simple to get started. And once you understand those, then it'll be a lot easier for you to move into a bona fide accounting system, such as QuickBooks or Wave Apps or GoDaddy Bookkeeping or something like that. So congratulations, you made it all the way to the end of the first session. Thank you all for staying here. We're here again to help you learn about all these things. We're definitely going to have some questions, but if you need to head off at the moment, we understand you're a busy business owner. But we will see you next week for Simple Accounting. We do have a couple of things of homework. Number one, identify the top 3 items that you need help with that we covered here and post in our Facebook group. And Ryan has the Facebook group information for you so that you can get in there and we can start helping stabilize your business with you. And the other one, I have a link on there at the bottom to go to the IRS website and bookmark that so you can pull that up at any given time and see when your due dates are for taxes. Every quarter. So I love these memes. I'm a meme kind of guy. So every week you're going to see a few of these things. And then just a little bit about what's to come. Next week, we're going to talk about simple accounting for Amazon and e-commerce. Again, we'll go over a real easy set of books, give you templates on how to do a ledger, give you some ideas and templates to use for business reporting, what you can do for inventory management if you're just starting out and you don't want to do a software package like Inventory Lab. When we started out, we did 5 months all on Excel for inventory management before we started using Inventory Lab. So it is possible. But once you get to a certain level of SKUs, you really don't want to do that. But just starting out and learning everything, it is possible. And then we'll also go over some Amazon reports that are helpful in your accounting. Then we're going to take kind of a 2-week break. So we'll take the next week off. That'll give you time to actually start going through and using the templates, asking questions, starting to create your simple first set of books and coming into the Facebook and talking about that. And then when we meet up the next time, we're going to go over like, okay, well now you have your simple set of books in Excel. How do I transition that over to an accounting system? And that's powerful because once you understand it on those simple ledgers and simple templates, the transition is very easy. And if you ever want to outsource, you need your books in some sort of accounting system that provides checks and balances. So we're going to talk about some popular accounting software and how to do reporting out of some of those software packages. Mainly I'm going to focus on QuickBooks, but I can go over a little bit out of GoDaddy or Wave or something like that if everybody really wants to. But QuickBooks by far and large is what I understand everybody uses. That's what I personally use. It's just an industry standard. We'll even go over like a sample chart of accounts that you might want to consider using to help get through QuickBooks pretty good. And then the week after that, we'll be going through talking about how to analyze your business. Like now you have all your data in the accounting system. Now what should you pull out and look at? You know, what should my dashboard for selling be? What are the 6 metrics that I need to look at to understand the health of my business at any given point for that week or that month, so you can stay on track to be hitting your goals? A lot of people have difficulty because there's so many things that you can look at. A lot of people have questions on what should I be looking at, and you know, ROI is thrown about all over the place, and that's definitely one of those things that's on the checklist on your dashboard. But you also want to look at margin, you want to look at your inventory turn rate, your returns, all sorts of stuff that you want to look at, and we'll get into that. But basically, we're also going to focus on using Profit First to manage your cash flow. I know it's very difficult sometimes to manage cash flows with Amazon keeping so much of an unavailable balance in your account. So you need to understand that it's happening. You need to understand why it's happening, and then you need to understand how you can operate knowing that it's happening and actually knowing there's not much you can do to actually change that. You just have to live within the Amazon world, since it's their sandbox if all you're doing is selling on Amazon. And then the last one, we're going to be planning your business. We're going to be talking about setting goals. We're going to be talking about understanding your overhead, understanding the amount of profit you need to make per sale to make sure you remain profitable each and every sale. We're going to talk about the importance of having a strategic budget and for measuring your progress against a budget. And then the importance of perhaps having some drip funds that you use to help stabilize your business. I mean, everybody knows fourth quarter, you go through there and you make a lot more money on fourth quarter than you do during the summer. So if you set up a drip fund properly, you can actually have a goal of having an income where you pay yourself a set amount every single month. And through the use of using a drip fund, you can actually have that payment to yourself every month. And I know a lot of people, that type of stability where you can count on your income every single month is a huge game changer for a lot of people. So I guess we can go to questions.
Good job, Chris. So guys that are watching us in Zoom, I've never ever done a webinar this way or launching a course this way. Usually we do I'm saying that in a good way, because you guys just got lesson 1 for free of this whole course. This is going to be 5 sessions is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm, right.
And so this is session 1. You guys got it for free. Legends members, you're going to continue to get it for free. If you guys that are watching us in Zoom want to continue on, I'll just post a link here. amzlegends.com/numbers. We continue next week, next Wednesday. There's going to be a 2-week break in order to take action on this, then another 2-week break in between the next 2, and then the 1-week break for the last session. But it's just for $97. We made it super cheap to make this affordable, because we know this is information that y'all need. No pressure. If doesn't feel like this is the direction you want to go, cool. There's I'm sure there's other places you can get this information as well, but we know what we're talking about here. At least I know Chris does. So that's why we brought this team together here. But we're excited to do this. And again, it's amzlegends.com/numbers if you want to go through class 2 through 5.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
I do see a couple of questions on Zoom.
We do. We got some questions, and Carl and Christy have been answering a bunch too. So I'll read them out, because the folks in the Legends group they're not on Zoom. So some of them might be, but most of them are in the Facebook group. So Norma's asking, I use GoDaddy Books and have ignored it. But I keep all my receipts and can't do a balance sheet from there, nor a profit and loss. So can you show us how to do that?
Sure. We can get into, I was reading the question again and you made it disappear. That's okay. We can get into GoDaddy Books, bookkeeping. And it is a very simple first step to transition. A lot of people go to there first, and then they realize that it does a lot of great things, but it doesn't do everything that you might need. So we can definitely go into that. It is one of the cheaper alternatives. and we can look into that for you. And if anything, if you need more help than what we cover in the session, put a note in the Facebook group, and we'll reach out to you and set up a time where we can talk more in depth about your issue.
Perfect. Guys, on the those of you in Zoom, Chris did mention it. There is a private Facebook group for this course, because I know there's probably going to be a ton of questions that come up. Those of you that are in Legends, I'll post a link for that if you want to join us over there. Of course, you can post questions inside the Legends group as well. But if you want a group, you want to join that Facebook group, you're more than welcome to. It's just going to be totally focused on this just for the next 5 weeks. This will be a temporary Facebook group. It'll stay open probably forever, because that content's going to live there for those of you that are in Zoom and decided to jump in with us. At some point, we'll probably close it up, and where there's not going to be any more posts, but you can forever go back and watch that content and get those recordings if you can't make it live.
Cool.
All right, Kimberly, I've heard a rule of thumb from transitioning to doing your own bookkeeping to paying someone else to do your books is paying per month no more than 1% to 2% of your monthly revenue. Do you agree?
Well, that is an interesting rule of thumb. I believe that I would pay whatever I need to have a set of books that I can trust. Mm-hmm. There is a limit to how much I can pay based on my revenue, obviously, and still become profitable. But, depending on what your monthly revenue. Now, what I would say, knowing Profit First, which we'll get into, I would say that you don't want to use your monthly revenue as a guide. You want to maybe use your real revenue as a guide, which is your gross profit after you take out the cost of goods. And we'll definitely get into that. But if somebody's doing a job that I can 100% count on my books being accurate and it's going to prevent me from getting audited, I would not say no to them because they go over 2% of my revenue. So definitely look for quality, and they will save you money and help you make more money over time than somebody that's falling within 1% to 2% of your monthly revenue. But
Chris, that question was asked by Jason in the Legends group. What is an average cost of a bookkeeper? And Carl rightly said that they can vary. Some charge an hourly rate or a monthly fee based on the amount of transactions within the month. Mm-hmm. I put in there that mine's about $350 per month, but it includes the tax return. Could you say between 200 and 300 is probably about where most people are going to be, or am I off on that?
No, you're pretty close to that. Obviously, when you start getting monthly revenue of 100,000, then your volume of transactions is going to go way up, and you're just going to have to pay for more time for people to go through and categorize your transactions for you. Mm-hmm. So, but for most sellers getting started that are making less than 100,000 revenue a month, then 200 is about average for doing simple bookkeeping. And then there's different fee structures based on different CPAs for doing your company taxes. Right. So some will just pay you, just say, okay, well, I'm going to just charge you one time for my tax prep all at once when I do your taxes. And it may be $1,200 or $1,600. Mm-hmm. And that seems like a lot of money, but in that, you also get a copy of your personal tax return done for you for the same price, depending on which CPA you use. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people that pay $600 to do their personal taxes to H&R Block or anything like that. Sure. But when you have a CPA and you have an LLC, typically it's a bundled package. So you're not paying $600 out of your personal pocket for your personal taxes and $1,000 or $2,000 for your business taxes. It's all generally rolled into one package. So, but 200 a month, it's a good starting price. I've seen around 150, and I've seen 600, but you have to understand what they're going to do for you. So if all they're going to do is pull in your statements from your bank and throw a category on each of your transactions for you, and then call it good, and then you'll hear from them again in 30 days. That's more like $150 service. But if you have somebody that goes through and does that and creates dashboards for you and answers your questions and help you plan for the future, that's worth considerably more.
Absolutely. Chris, can I share my screen and share that success path real quick? Because we forgot to do that.
Absolutely.
Just stop the share for a second and I'll share mine. So guys, I know we're talking about all these numbers and 200 a month and all this, and you might be thinking, my goodness, I just started this thing and I'm going to be in the hole before I even get started. No. Mark Fisher posted in the Legends group just now. I used GoDaddy bookkeeping my first year, was worth using to get started. I've used GoDaddy bookkeeping for a long time. I mean, honestly, not too long ago, got a bookkeeper and just doing it the quote right way. I should have done it a long time ago, but don't look at these things and think, oh my gosh, I got to do it all now. Again, we don't want this to scare you. So this is this Legends success path here. For those of you not in Legends, it doesn't matter. You can still learn from what we're trying to say here. We feel like there is a success path that every single one of people on this webinar right now I would say are very successful Amazon sellers, very successful. Their numbers vary. I don't know what their numbers are, but I know they vary. I know they're not all at the same exact number. Now, just because we're not all selling $200,000 a month like Jimmy Smith, does that mean that we're not successful? Absolutely not. So the success path is about where you are and trying to get you, taking you from where you are to where you want to be. And it's not about numbers, because my goal might be to make $200 a month. Chris's goal might be to make $20,000 a month. And so it's different for every person, but looking at the most successful people in this business, there's some common threads that run through their businesses and run through their journeys, no matter what numbers they're posting. Now, a lot of times numbers will come with it as they go, and further along, their numbers are going to grow. So here's what I'm saying here. A lot of folks start out here. Obviously, everybody starts out here. You got to get your first sale, your shipments, and you got to set a goal. So this is for the Legends group, for helping people to figure out where they are and what they need to do to move forward. Notice down here, this is where I put the Know Your Numbers course down here. So the people that are at the Centurion level, that's when you need to be starting to really think about, not that you can't think about this stuff at the beginning, but the point of saying this is that when you're at this level is where you really need to be focused on outsourcing, thinking about outsourcing, and going through this Know Your Numbers course that we're putting together right now. So as you're getting started, you're just learning the ropes. You're sending in a shipment. I don't think at this level, guys, you need to be like, go out in there looking necessarily for a CPA, unless if you've ran a business before and you've done all this before, and this is old hat to you. Yeah, maybe you want to have some ducks in a row, and if that makes you feel more comfortable, great. But I know if most people, if they're just starting out and we say, okay, you need to go out and hire a bookkeeper, a CPA, you need to get Inventory Lab software, and now you're already, $500 in the hole every single month, you're probably never going to get started. So that's never something that we recommend. And then at this level, you're getting confident with Keepa. You're starting to source and ship consistently, but most importantly, you know how to find good products. And then this next level, that's when it's starting to become a business. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this. I've been doing this for a while. This could be, you've been doing this for 3 weeks. It could be 3 years. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get through each step, but it's this level here that we feel like you need to be thinking about this stuff. So hopefully that encourages some of you who may be down here. Not that you can't think about it now. The sooner you think about it, the better. But if this is like all stressful and overloading your mind, you're thinking, man, I'm just trying to learn how to source confidently. Well, maybe you hang on to this and wait until you're at this level here. Okay. And Chris, Christy, Carl, any, I don't want to steer people the wrong way. I just want them to realize that, some of this content that we're going to go through over the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks may not even be for them yet if they're down here. Not that they can't go through it, but I don't want it to be information overload.
Yeah, definitely for the next, there are topics within each course that will speak to those things.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're talking about sourcing, a lot of that has to do with ROI. So we're gonna talk about how to measure your ROI when you make a sale.
Okay.
So it ties in directly with the Gladiator level.
Okay. Perfect.
And then also we'll talk about Amazon fees and stuff like that, and that ties into the Warrior level. So we will be hitting items from each of these different levels and how they should look in a set of books.
Okay. Cool. All right, so I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. You realize that this is, you know, when you're at this level here, this is where you really, really, really need to be going through this. So,
Hey, I got one thing to add if I can.
yeah, yes, sir.
You can pretty much look at this as college, right?
Yeah.
So when you first get into college, you got your ground level stuff, your general education, your fun science, and all that 101 type stuff that everybody just loves. No, not so much.
Right.
So, you know, we understand, been there, done that. I understand, we all understand that when you first come into a group like this, that you get information overload. You know, so many different things out there, so many different opportunities, there's just so much information. So look at this as college. You know, you're in Amazon, or actually I wouldn't even narrow it down to just Amazon. You're in business ownership 101. So look at that and just take it one step at a time. All this content that Chris is throwing out, you know, this is not the sexy stuff, but this is the stuff that's never really talked about because so many sellers are like under the assumption that they either should know this or they're embarrassed to ask. There's tons of information how to source. There's tons of information how to outsource and scale a team and really build a solid business. But this is the one thing that could seriously change the trajectory of your business. So ask your questions here. There is no stupid answer or stupid question. I've been in hot water myself. So I'll show some transparency here. So, you know, don't be the one saying, man, am I the only one that doesn't know this stuff? I didn't know this stuff either. So don't be ashamed to ask questions. Don't be ashamed to, you know, just to throw yourself out there. Like, you know what? I don't know this stuff. I see that my profit is $2 an item, but is that paying the bills for my business and actually paying for me to stay home or to go on a vacation or to draw a salary? Probably not. But only way to find out is to, you know, dig into this information and learn how to do that. So yes, welcome to the course.
College.
Yeah, welcome to college.
Good stuff. Chris, you're welcome. I don't know if there's anything else on the other slides, or I guess we're just taking questions now, so you don't necessarily have to share anything unless there's something else you want to point out.
No, there's nothing else.
Kimberly, do you mind sharing who does your monthly bookkeeping? The quotes I've gotten have been in more of the 400 to 600 range, which is too much for me right now. Yep, that would be more than what I spend, Kimberly. But
Yep.
I could definitely swing 200 to 300. And the quotes I've received, part of the costs quoted often come from the use of multiple bank accounts used in Profit First. Yeah, I don't mind sharing who it's Jimmy's mom, Cindy Smith, is going to be doing mine for me. I'm actually,
That's who we use as well.
Transparently, and just, you know, I'm moving over from what I was doing to her. So we can put her information in the group if you guys need that.
Yeah, and I also am working with local bookkeepers to be able to have a service that can provide that as well for Legends members. We have 2 different CPAs that we have associations with that have agreed to take part in actively reviewing the books and everything as well. So.
Okay.
I think there was a question earlier that I can't see it now, and I don't think it got answered. Chris, I know that you're going to be covering profit first, and there was a question on how deep you're going to dive into that. Is there going to be like a lot of information, or is it going to be more just kind of an overview?
So, I mean, there is an entire book about it, and I'm not going to cover the whole book, but I will cover the general principles of Profit First, why it's important, how it can work. And then I can provide additional information to supplement what we go over.
Perfect.
And if there is enough interest, we can actually expand one of the future sessions to cover that a lot more in detail with full-on examples if we need to.
Awesome.
Kimberly, I'm putting her information in the chat here for you.
I want to just add, again, I said this at the beginning, I'm going to say it again. I'm so excited about this. And, you know, we've talked a couple of times that, you know, not everybody is going to find this the most exciting piece. But from the foundation standpoint of your business, it is one of the most important things. And so I just really want to encourage everybody that, you know, like I said, I hear this from people all the time. You know, it's like they get frustrated and they get worried because they don't know whether they're making money or not. And if you just take a little bit of time right here at the beginning to learn some of these just basic lessons, and let Chris guide you through the process of setting your business up on a solid foundation, it's going to serve you so well in your business and being able to really start out on the strongest foot possible. And so I'm just super excited about it, because like I said, when I started in 19, we won't talk about how old I was in the 1900s, but that's okay. In 2015, you know, I just so wish that this information had been out there. You know, I think that I felt like I wasted 2 years of my business because I didn't know any of this stuff. And so, you know, since then, of course, now I do much better, and I'm able to keep more money, and I'm able to understand my information. But you know, Chris, the other thing I want to say is I love the fact that you said lessons. These are lessons. This isn't like a training. This isn't like a webinar where people are just going to be talking at you. Like, we gave lots of information today, but these are lessons. And so you're just going to be able to go through and follow the steps, ask questions if you run into a roadblock, and then you'll be in a position where you have everything set up with all the help that you need to get there. So, just super excited for people to be able to start out and be able to start their businesses on the strongest foot possible, so that they can start seeing and achieving those goals and those dreams that they want way faster than I did.
Cool. There was one question on Zoom that just came in on what you could bring to the next course. And you could definitely, if you wanted to, bring a few receipts with you, maybe a bank statement or credit card statement, then you can actually build along with this while we're going through the course. So
Nice.
if you wanted to do that, but you know, depending on what your monthly revenue. Now, what I would say, if you wanted to bring a few receipts with you,
Some feedback there.
maybe a bank statement, credit card statement, then you can actually
Maybe that
build.
is. Oops. Okay, it was Christy. Okay, no problem. Let's see what else we got here. Carl, you mentioned you responded to Ed. That's awesome, about business insurance. So for those of you in Zoom, Ed posted in the Legends group asking, do you recommend business insurance immediately after LLC set up to protect assets? Carl said yes. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely want to protect your assets.
Definitely. And you definitely want to have a recourse in case something bad happens to your assets. Not just from a not just from a legal perspective, but you know, what if UPS loses your entire shipment of 600 items? I mean, it's not on the you know, you're gonna have to fight with Amazon for a long time to get that covered.
Yeah.
So
one thing we didn't mention is Chrissy's been kind of doing this behind the scenes a little bit as needed when people kind of just need some help. But the audits, do you guys want to talk about that real quick? Christy, you want to mention, because you've been doing those, and Chris and Carl, feel free to jump in too. But this is something that after the course, or maybe even during the course, we'll say, hey, you guys, because it'll be as needed thing. But if you need help, I need Christy to get on a call with me, and a Zoom call, and let me share my screen and walk me through it. So what does an account audit look like?
We do and it's not really an audit. I think we kind of switch it around to a review, just to give the clear perspective on it. Mm-hmm. I think, again, we work with so many people that really don't even know how to navigate around in Seller Central. Mm-hmm. And because they don't know how to navigate around in Seller Central, they're not aware of the importance of keeping their account healthy. And so, and Chris is going to cover a lot of this as well, but the account reviews, the thing that's really cool about them is that we're able to go in and actually share your screen and walk through. It's not generic information, it's specific to your account and what you're actually doing. And so what we like to do is we go in and we show you around the different places that you need to pay the most attention to on your Seller Central dashboard. And so we're going to be showing you how to I always go in that I have a certain set of steps that I do every day on my account. I go in and I check my feedback. I go in and I check to make sure that there isn't anything stranded. I go in to make sure that see where my excess inventory is. I go in and look at my restock information and make sure that there isn't anything that I either need to restock or that I need to hide those recommendations for. And those are all, they're simple steps that I do. It takes less than 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes every day. And it's something as simple as that that's going to help to keep people's accounts as healthy as possible. And when you have a healthy account with Amazon, you will see an increase in sales. They want sellers that have healthy accounts. And so we do that. We go through and we just do some spot checking on making sure that people are making good buying decisions, that they really do understand what their net profit is on a product, what their parameters are for sourcing, to make sure that they do really understand that, you know, you make your money when you buy the product, not when you sell it. And so we cover a lot of that information, but I said the real value of it is that we're working directly in their account. They're sharing their screen and we're working through their specific information. And so it's not generic, it's specific to them. And we actually have a couple of people that are on the webinar tonight that have gone through account reviews. And I think that they found them to be really, really helpful in understanding, you know, it's again, it's one of those things that it was never taught. You know, we don't know it, and you don't know what you don't know. And we also cover the IPI, your Inventory Performance Inventory Performance Index score, the importance of it, how you can help to move it up, and those types of things. So that's kind of a basic overview.
Cool. Kimberly, does the course talk about managing cash flow in today's current Amazon environment, longer inventory check-in times, screwed up buy box algorithm, et cetera, and how to pivot if your revenue starts going down as a result?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the strategic planning. So one thing that you can start doing to help yourself with that is actually look at your past, say 20 shipments, and go through and look at the amount of time it took for them to, from the time they left your house or your business to the time they got checked in and were live on Amazon, all the way to the very last item in the box, if you're lucky enough to have all items checked in, because that's a big issue right now with a lot of the fulfillment centers. But if you can start getting that number together, then you can build a business plan using that number. So.
Cool. All right. So guys, we continue this next week. If you're in Zoom and you want to continue it with us, amzlegends.com/numbers. Chris, Christy, Carl, anything else you want to say before we let these folks go?
No, I just want everyone to understand we really want to help wherever we can. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You can private message any one of us. We're glad to help. We all have different schedules throughout the day and different days, so we'll help where we can. I know I've been helping several people. I've been helping a couple of people that are actually selling over in England right now. So there's a big time difference. But luckily I'm a night owl, so I know a lot of us are, if you're doing this as a second income. So I usually start at like 9 o'clock at night and go all the way till midnight or 1 a.m. my time. I'm central. And then I know other people are not that way, but that's kind of my live schedule. So.
Christy, Carl, want to say anything else?
I just want to concur. You know, I think, you know, I just feel incredibly blessed, you know, to be able to work with people that just really have a heart to serve people and want to help and make sure that people are just having the information that they need to be as successful as possible. And so, you know, being able to work with you all is just really a blessing to me. And so I'm so grateful for that. And I just want people to understand that, you know, we really do truly care, and we really, truly want to help you. And so I'm grateful that you're allowing us to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't, you nailed it, Christy. You know, this is something I wish I had several years ago when I first started in this e-commerce game, because my background is service related. So coming into a retail environment where you have to factor in inventory turn and cash flow and, you know, people and everything else, it's nothing that's ever talked about. It's not a sexy topic. So, you know, Ryan and I talked about this, you know, months ago. It's just like, Ryan, you know, this is something we need badly. We're talking about everything else in business, but this is something that is so much needed. And, you know, this fits perfectly with what Chris is doing, with what you're doing, Christy, and, you know, and some of the stuff I'm doing. So, this is an amazing opportunity to serve so many people with this content, to help so many people change trajectory. Because I'm sure there are so many people out there that are just afraid to ask. They don't know. Like you said, Chrissy, people don't know what they don't know. So how are they going to ask those questions if they don't know? And just we're doing this before Q4. Buckle your seatbelt. It's going to be an amazing ride. That's all I'm going to say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep more money in your pocket because
Yes.
now you're going to know. And that's
right.
to make all my first year. I did great sales and didn't end up with any money in my pocket because I didn't know any better. And being able to put people in a position where they're going to be able to take advantage of the huge abundance that happens in fourth quarter and keep more money in their pocket, that is super exciting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Good stuff, guys. Chris, thanks for putting this together, my friend. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And guys, we will see you next week. And have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
You guys have a good night.
See y'all. All right, bye.
Goodbye.